Welcome to the REI Foundation Podcast, where we cover all the steps and strategies to make your real estate dreams a reality. Now your hosts, Jason and Peely.
And happy Multifamily Monday on the Real Estate Investing Foundation podcast. It is Monday, so we do tackle everything that is related to multifamily. But again, if you like what you hear, please do us a huge favor. Take this time, send this podcast to a friend, send this podcast to somebody who wants to get into multifamily or is currently in multifamily, and share the message. Or give us a rating on iTunes. Always can love to hear from you. Always love your support. Reach out and say hello. But today we're going to talk about expectations on repositioning a property and ultimately how that aligns with your underwriting. It was helping an investor the other day just really take a look at a property that he actually has under contract. And, this isn't to call the investor out. It was just some points that I made. And there was a pretty aggressive rent bump year one. And he was ultimately assuming that he was just going to capture all of the rent bump all by year one, that he would be able to turn all of the units, all 50 or so units, and be able to renovate all those units and turn all those units and then capture all of those rent bumps. Sounds great plan. But in real life, when you're turning a building, ultimately that plan can't always happen unless you're going to vacate the building day one and you're on month-to-month leases. However, this is a building that's got, it was quote unquote stabilized, has 4 vacant units, and everyone's on year leases. So ultimately, his plan to align this is going to be difficult to accomplish, because how many units could he possibly be turning a month to achieve this? Where he's factoring in that he's going to capture almost a $200 rent bump throughout the year, when ultimately he may not even get to a third of those units in year one. And it may take him all the way through year 2, possibly even to year 3, by the time he's able to turn all of these units to accomplish this rent bump. And if you factor that into your underwriting and factor that into how you're looking at your repositioning phase, well, that's going to grossly change your returns that you're anticipating. Because instead of capturing that in year one, well, that's going to factor all the way throughout. And those lower rents that you're going to be capturing day one based on just current tenants and just what the operation of the project is, well, you're still going to have that same expense structure that's going to ultimately throughout. So you're going to have your same expense structure, but lower rents, instead of having that huge rent bump that's going to wash out that expense structure. So for yourself, when you are taking on a property, it's important for you to just really be honest. And you can get this approach from just thinking about, well, okay, if I'm gonna have construction going on, how much of that construction can actually get accomplished? Does any of this require permits? Does these unit turns, if management, property manager is gonna handle this in-house, do they have the capability to turn 5, 10, 20, 30 units in a month, in 2 months, in a year? What's their capability? And past that, what does it take to lease a property? Because if their turn to go in there and turn a unit takes a week or 2 weeks, well, are they able to pre-lease or get those units leased prior, or they actually need another week, 2, 3? What's it like in that market? So if you're trying to turn 3, 4, 5 units a month, well, okay, that leads you, 4 units a month times 12 months. That's 50 across a year. But you're not going to capture all that in year one if it takes them 2 to 3 weeks to be able to lease a unit beyond that. And what kind of lease specials, concessions, how's all that going to play into your process? So working with your team to understand what is actually going to be possible for you to accomplish is just so important. So you can make sure that you have in your mindset, in your capabilities, and in your underwriting, the best process for you to be able to succeed. And ultimately, the best process for you to tell your investors what can and will happen. Because you don't want to come out with a story that we're going to achieve these massive rent bumps, we're going to turn 100% of the units in year one, and be blindsided when you turn a third of them, and you have half the building that you're or more that's still based on just current rents. So be true with yourself, get some guidance, make sure you're following through on what is actually possible to be accomplished. Okay. Happy Monday. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We love hearing from you. Go to our website, yourusieholdings.com. Ton of information there. Happy to help. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning into the REI Foundation podcast. Check back next time for more awesome tips and strategies to launch your new you in real estate.